Welcome to Enjoy Fort Wayne. This episode is brought to you by the Waialainai Farmers Market and highlights the 350 vendors that make up the #1 market in the state of Indiana.
Travis Adkins, Vice President for Community Impact for Waialainai.
Wow, that was a mouthful.
It is.
So,
impressive.
Yeah, you're an impressive person, yes. We're going to find all about that. So, how long have you been in that position?
I started my term right after the Leadership Institute class that I was in. So I graduated the Leadership Institute class in 21, and then next year, wow. That didn't help. I thought that would help me do the math. That made it worse. We're going to say like
right after
year and a half.
Yeah. Okay.
That sounds good.
So now let me ask you, because the reason I wanted to have you on is the shows now, this podcast has been going for a while. We've gotten a lot of cool vendors, but I want to kind of go back to the roots of what Waialainai does and then your role, maybe your vision for the market, what you're excited about the market and that kind of thing. And we'll get to know you, kind of get your story as well.
Sure.
So let's kind of start from the beginning. Are you from Fort Wayne originally?
I'm not.
Oh.
I know. Is that a red flag? I just got voted out of the market. Here we are.
So I'm not originally from here. Ashley, our fearless leader, is not originally from here. So it's not a horrible thing, but it's just weird. The Waialainai,
your
Northeast
reaction,
Indiana.
like the crowd ooh
mean
wasn't great.
Didn't mean to do that.
But no, I'm actually from the metropolis of Mexico, Indiana. Yeah.
Okay.
I am a Mexican.
I am familiar because it's right by Chile and
it is.
Right by there's all those like random Peru.
I was born in Peru.
Okay.
Lived in Mexico.
Okay.
I know. It's a lot.
Very interesting. So, okay, then what's your story? How'd you get here?
Sure. So I took a job. I've had several jobs in my life.
Yeah.
But I took a job at Manchester University originally. So I lived in Huntington, and that's where I lived when I first got connected with Waialainai, was Huntington.
Okay.
Switched jobs, and then started working for Trine in Angola. And Fort Wayne's a little closer to Angola. Didn't want to live in Angola. We like Fort Wayne.
Okay.
We like farmers markets.
Yep.
My first ever job, being alive, so like 15, was actually as a vendor on the vendor side. Not here, but as a
helping out with someone.
Yeah. I would take. I grew up pretty close to an apple orchard, and I would take. Well, first I had to be driven because 15.
Right.
It's illegal. But after that, at 16, I was driving like market vans, big rickety-looking market vans, down to Carmel, Indiana.
Wow.
With this orchard's items, and then I always liked it. Always have been like a market person in terms of when I wasn't vending myself. You
enjoyed going.
Yes. An attender.
Right.
That's a weird way to say it.
Yeah. Okay. So when this opportunity came up, I would assume that's pretty exciting.
It is pretty exciting. Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
For sure.
So walk us through how that happens, and explain a little bit more about Waialainai as a whole, because we've never, on this show, we really haven't ever got into the details of Waialainai as we get into details more of the market. So talk us through that a little bit.
Absolutely. So I think a good place to start is, what does Waialainai stand for?
And I do know that.
Yes.
So Young Leaders of Northeast Indiana.
I'm impressed.
YLNI.
Yes.
And it's not, so my
it's
friends.
Not Yolani. I had a friend that called it that.
Yeah. Yolani, he's a nice guy.
Yes, exactly.
No, and it's also not like Nick Cannon's Wildin' Out, like the Wildin'.
Yeah.
Like it's not that either.
Yes.
It's the letters Y and the L
Less
and
kids
the N and the I.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Keep going.
Yeah. So just a quick history of Waialainai, like very quick, because nobody wants to know that much. But in 2004, Waialainai started. It was supposed to combat people leaving Fort Wayne. So people would grow up here. They would maybe even get their education there, and then they would go off. So that's the mission of Waialainai, is to attract, retain, and develop emerging leaders essentially Northeast Indiana. Then shortly after its inception, they did a survey of young adults, probably 18 to 40 range, and asked what things that the community maybe doesn't have or doesn't have a good one of. And that's kind of why the market was born, because people indicated that a farmer's market was something that they were interested in having in our community. Weil and I partnered. The rest is history.
So you saw the need and boom, off you went.
Off we went.
Huh. Definitely didn't know that. I know more of a little bit how it started, and like we mentioned, our fearless leader Ashley, her story, but I guess I didn't know kind of how that works. So, okay, and what are some of the other programs then that Weil and I offers for if someone's listening to this and says, "Oh, okay, so there's stuff for young leaders. What can I do?" How does that work?
Yeah, so absolutely. So obviously we are, and we know it, notorious for the market, right? I mean, we do a lot of other things, but the market is by far, by sheer volume, our most attended event by far. But
hence why there's the podcast. It's
why there's the podcast.
For the vendors. It's
Correct.
Not for Weil and I,
right.
technically.
Right.
But that's why I wanted to have you on
right.
and talk through that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you're right. That's 100% right. Our second, probably biggest thing that we're known for is the Leadership Institutes. So I kind of alluded to that at the beginning. So we have 3 to 4 different levels, depending on interest and time and that kind of thing, of leadership classes. So the most common one is just literally the Weil and I Leadership Institute. Typically, that's, I would say the demographic there is like 22 to 40, and it's a multi-week class. Kind of, some people might know of Greater Fort Wayne's kind of alternate version, but essentially you learn about how to be a leader. You get to go into places that you might not necessarily see every Friday. It's a sixth Friday in a row thing.
Okay.
We go to different areas throughout Fort Wayne, so there's exposure. So probably a good example of a place I'd never been before was Turnstone. That's where one of our classes was held.
Yep.
But teaches you a lot of like introspective things about what you need to be a leader. It's not necessarily like, here's the 5 magic steps to be a leader, but here, based on your personality, your strengths, your weaknesses, here's how you could most effectively lead a team. That's pretty big. I would also say, so aside from the Leadership Institutes, there are different age levels of that. So we've got a high school institute, we've got a college institute, but probably the young professional out of college age is probably our most popular. We also do monthly networking events. So those are called hotspots. Those are at different bars, restaurants, those kinds of things, typically on Thursday evenings, 5:30 to 7:30.
I think I see some of that stuff on Facebook,
yes.
right? You can follow the Facebook page, and there's I've seen different events and different meetups
yes.
and whatever. I remember one at the Irish place.
JK's.
Yeah, J.K. O'Donnell's.
Yeah.
I remember seeing something about that. Now, is this like set up where it's like quarterly they have these, or is it like every 6 weeks, or how does that work?
So the hotspots are monthly. We do take off December because we actually do a community our member and chair appreciation event, and that's our hotspot for the day. So it's a closed it's a closed meeting, but other than that, it's pretty much every month without fail.
Okay, and then what about I guess you call it the class or the course?
Mm-hmm.
How is that set up? Is that every so often? Because you said it's 6 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is it just every 6 weeks it runs over and over?
It's not.
Okay.
It is not. So it's a once a year thing.
Okay.
Yep.
And when is that then?
January through May. So it's like 6 weeks, but it's not just it's not 6 weeks in a row. They space out. We always hit like spring breaks in there, in which we try to not have, and all that kind of good stuff.
Try to be smart about it.
Young leaders. But yes, so once a year, so there's a cohort once a year, and then those other leadership classes that I talked about kind of fill up the time of that committee at other times. So they're not running concurrently.
So we're in November now. How does that look like? If someone is interested in this, like, is this the time to sign up? How does
It
that?
is. It is. So we will post. You did a good plug for our Facebook. That's probably our most popular social media platform. But we will here, I believe. Don't quote me on this, but it's usually November. So we are now in November when the application does come out for the following, like, I think the first class is February typically.
Gotcha.
Usually one like intro class that doesn't count, where you just get to meet, and like we usually go to Crazy Pins. You get to bowl with like the board and kind of hang out and make sure that you want to hang out with us crazies for 6 weeks. But yes, so it's kind of November. You usually know by January, and then
It gets going.
it gets going.
Yeah.
25 to 30 in the class typically,
Okay.
depending on.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, I didn't know any of that. I wouldn't assume that most of the listeners
Right.
who listen to this
Absolutely.
knew about it. So,
Sure.
yeah, very cool. Okay, let's talk through.
Ooh, I got one more shameless plug in there. I got to add. Yeah. So of course, I'm biased, right? So I'm biased to the market, biased to everything that I'm
I
over.
am too.
Right?
I mean, I'm biased to
Yes.
the market.
Yes. So one other thing that I just wanted to bring up is that my branch is kind of crazy in Wailanai. So I'm over the farmers market. I'm also over voting, like not necessarily voting rights, but voting registration, knowing when to vote, the elections, that kind of thing.
Oh, in our city.
In our city, yes. So if you might have seen, listeners, if you might have noticed that the League of Women Voters was at the farmers market on Saturday.
Yes, I did.
Yes, and they also had a spot. They actually ran the pop tent in the summer, and then they also were randomly there in another time.
Yeah.
In the summer to register. But Saturdays obviously was just saying, hey, Tuesday.
Just letting you know,
Yes.
guys. Like, yeah.
Yep.
So I did see that.
Yes.
Okay, so that's you.
So
that's your
that's
thing
me too. And then also IDA. So that's inclusion, diversity, and advocacy. So we try to be as kind of just building the inclusive culture within the organization. Everybody can be a young leader. It doesn't matter what you look like, where you're from, all that kind of good stuff.
Right.
We also have additional meetups called Tough Talks that go on top of the hotspots. So we've got hotspots that are just literally for fun, networking, pass your card around so that people know what you do. These Tough Talks are a little bit more pointed. Actually, when I saw you at Charlie's place, that was a Tough Talk.
Oh, yeah, I did run into you.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. You even claimed it. Like you waved. It wasn't,
I claimed that
you
I
didn't
know that
hid.
guy.
You
I
didn't
know
hid.
him.
You didn't hide.
I saw you in the wild.
Yes.
Like out
In the wild.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So wait, what was that again? I know you told me a little bit
Yes.
then, but
Yeah.
I don't remember.
So essentially, we just try to get people with different perspectives on life together and make them uncomfortable, and kind of get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
I love it. Be
So-
outside your comfort zone.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Because I mean that's what leadership is, right? So it's not, we can't all have the same thoughts, and we all don't have the same perspectives on things. So just learning from one another. So the one at Charlie's place specifically, we had different like sheets printed out. People talked about things, everything from politics to book bans to healthcare, if you're like socialized versus not, that kind of thing, and just kind of learning from one another. We've had different formats to where we've had different either community leaders or like more lecture style. We've done that too, but typically it's just more about awareness. There's also where I'm kind of trying to connect the market back, is that there's that community involvement aspect of that as well. So volunteering, getting more involved with the community, giving back, that kind of deal. And that's why like we're kind of really pro with feeding Fort Wayne. And the vendors that have come to the vendor meeting at the History Center knew that I was like getting all emotional because we gave our first check to Feeding Fort Wayne. But being able to learn where vendors are already doing things that they're giving back to their communities, where Wyla and I can come alongside and partner, because it's a little hard for me and our little volunteer team to always know what everybody's doing or create net new events. So if you guys are already doing something that we could come along and partner, if you're already giving back, Simple Nature Candles is a great call out with, he's doing something all the time. I don't know how he's profitable really, but that's a good thing. Give your profit back and be profitable. But we're trying to work and learn what vendors are doing so that the market and Weil and I as a whole can go behind you and kind of lift those efforts up too.
Yeah, 100%. That is very cool. I didn't realize that was all part of that under your umbrella.
Under my umbrella,
basically,
my
yeah.
tutelage.
You like that word? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm a professional podcaster. So
you are. You are. You can tell that I am not.
I think the listeners can tell.
Yes, they can tell.
I will admit.
They can tell.
How am I doing?
You're doing great.
Okay.
You're doing great. This is the best podcast I've ever been on.
You're the best podcast host I've ever
podcasted
with. Yeah.
Yes.
I am the only. Yeah.
Yes.
So, okay, let's talk now the market.
Must we? No.
What is your first memory of the Weil and I Farmers Market? Just curious.
Oh, Nicole. 100%.
So, and we will eventually have her on. Like, she's like lovingly the mascot almost.
She is.
Like, right? Like,
yes. When she's bearing her big Sherpa blanket, onesie, huggy thing.
Even if it's 80 degrees.
Even if it's 80 degrees. Yeah. I mean, that's honestly, truly,
really?
it's probably my first interaction with the market. Be like, man, what a memorable person.
So you went to that front booth and the information booth kind of, and she was there and you just was talking to her? Or?
Yeah. Well, I mean, actually at the market, I did get to meet Ashley ahead of time. And kind of as we did the board transition from my predecessor on, we do a lot of Panera meetings. Ashley and I give about 40% of our income to Panera.
To Panera, yeah. So shout out to.
But yes, obviously, I mean, I guess that's my first initial interaction with the market.
I've been to some of those.
Yes,
yeah.
But yeah, and honestly, I just think, I mean, this is just kind of general, but just there's a feeling at the market, even on your first interaction, especially in the summer, where it's like, this is something bigger than, this isn't just not that just a farmer's market is a thing, but this is like, it's a community. There's like a feeling in the air, like once you cross over the imaginary line. We close off the streets.
Yeah,
I signed some paperwork. Granted, Ashley just throws lots of stuff at me, and I just sign it. Just blindly
trust her.
Sign it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so other than the Panera meeting, my interactions with the lovely Nicole, just like, I don't know, it's something, I don't know how to describe it. It's just some magic. Is that a weird thing to say?
It is. I like that you said you don't know how to describe it, because hopefully anyone who is listening has been to the summer market and just will be like, I know what he's talking about.
Right.
You know, and it's just like that you shut down a whole entire city block basically, and we're
trying to get more streets.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And so it's like you come out and there's just all these people owning their own business and getting products out to the people in the community, and everyone is family. Like, everyone is together, like for a whole city block.
Right.
And on the average, that just doesn't happen very often.
Right.
And it's just a cool, indescribable thing. I will agree. So,
and not to hate on the winter market, it's grown immensely, even just from last year to this year, and we're building that community there. But
it's not the same.
I can't lie.
Course.
I can't lie. The summer, there's some. Also, like, seasonal depression isn't happening then, right? When it's like 80, I can be happier.
Exactly. Hey, completely fair. But let's talk about the improvement from this year to last year. I remember that if you've been to the winter market, there's that the front area and then the back room that kicks off with, you can get a Bloody Mary or whatever and then go through. And when you went through, there wasn't much, and I wasn't a huge fan, I gotta say now, it's after the fact, that there was a dead end. Mm-hmm. And what I love already in the first couple weeks is it was a full circle. You open up that side door, and literally the market is a circle. There is no dead end, which has to make vendors feel good knowing that they're not at the end. No one wants to be at the end.
Nobody wants to be at the end.
I get it.
Right.
But there is no end, and it's super cool. Not only is there no end, but there's even along the back wall, there's even vendors. And it's only November. Last year, it took a lot of time for us to build up to that.
It did.
So to have the amount of vendors that you do when it's a winter market, like how cool is that?
It's amazing. We started out the floodgate this year as soon as we clicked over to winter, and we're already like 15 plus ahead of where we were last year at the same time. And I think it's incredible with that sheer volume that we have a wait list for the winter market. I mean, we have wait lists for the summer market. I mean, it's a pretty badass place. But it's incredible, especially a testament to Ashley, Nicole. I mean, everyone that has any the vendors themselves.
Yeah.
That we're able to gain that kind of traction, honestly, over a year. I mean, and even before that, when we're back at Aunt Millie's.
Yeah.
It's continued to grow every single year, and yeah, indescribable.
No, 100%. It is so cool now that we're in the winter market. Of course, we'd rather be in 80-degree weather outside, but having said that, since we're not, it is super cool to see how full that building is.
Yes.
And that we even want to grow from there too.
Right.
I mean, it is really cool.
We're definitely trying to work with the owner now to see if there's additional space that we can expand that footprint.
Waiting list, man. We got a waiting list, man. Come on.
We do. No, you make more money, I make more money, we all make more money.
Yeah. And it makes our market better.
I am a volunteer. I make no money. There is no money
right.
to be made.
So let me ask you this regarding Fort Wayne. What is something that you've noticed as you've been in the city for a while now that you are so excited for?
Other than the market? Well, this might be a lame one, but I still am impressed by the growth, even just business industry, job opportunity, that kind of thing. Because, I'm from Mexico, Indiana. I mean, we got a gas station.
And you do have a stop sign.
We have a stop sign, not a stoplight.
Right.
Though.
I caught myself because I remember.
Yes.
I remember. I dated a girl from Mexico, Indiana.
Wow.
I met her, asked her where she's from, and she said Mexico.
1,000% will know this person.
Well, Voorhees is the last name. I don't know.
That's a familiar last name, but interesting. Yeah, that'll be some Facebook stalking later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, just the sheer growth. Like this is the biggest city I've ever lived in my life, and the fact that it's still expanding, and I hear from people that have been even here longer than me that this is not the Fort Wayne of 5 years ago. It's definitely not the Fort Wayne of 10 years ago, and the fact that like we are still investing so much.
I know.
We also actually just kind of a neat thing. We just actually came out of a board meeting, and they talked about how they're working to improve the city bus system, and that hasn't that we've grown so much, but the bus system itself has not grown to match.
Yep.
So that's obviously a thing to think about too. But just honestly, just sheer growth in opportunity, in new business location. The fact that my house is now worth much more than it was when I bought it a year and a half ago.
That's also fair.
That's fair.
No, I totally agree. And all that what you said, even within a 4 to 5, 6 block radius in downtown Fort Wayne, is like so much change and 100%. So much, like let alone the entire city.
Yes.
But
when we're blessed with like the market location, being able to be in prime. I mean, prime. It is.
It's the hub, baby.
It is.
I mean, it is very cool. Yeah, it's awesome to be a part of that. So I'm thankful too. Okay, then let me ask you this. What is something, as far as goals, are there any goals that you have for not only the market, but as you hold your seat? Is it a seat? Am I calling it right?
Sure.
In your position?
Yes.
As you hold that seat.
That makes it sound very prestigious.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, it doesn't make me sound like you just are.
I just am it.
Yeah. So what, can you talk through maybe some goals that you have either for the market or for what you'd like to see done while you hold your seat?
Sure. So kind of alluding back to that volunteer aspect, right? So the market has a huge footprint, and I would love to know what vendors or vendors adjacent, so a family member of a vendor, a friend of a vendor, what they're doing in the community that we could possibly partner along. And we've thought about those things as we're writing, budgets in the future and those kinds of things, to be able to have that money set aside to be able to, if there's a cool opportunity, to be able to do that. Also something, this is maybe a spoiler, and maybe I shouldn't say this out loud, but I don't know, Ashley, wherever she might be, rest her soul.
She didn't.
Ashley's fine.
She's fine, guys.
She's fine.
You are trying to break the mic
ghost
off
of Ashley's moving this thing around. No, but we also want to be able to give back to our vendors in a way. So hopefully there will be some more information about how we can kind of partner if there's a vendor that wants to improve their business in a certain way, that the market could somehow help that. If that's connecting with an expert, if that's connecting within reason financially or something along those lines, if there's a way that we can do that, we want to explore those opportunities. So maybe, I usually grow my crops in X way. Maybe I want to try a small hydroponics something. If the market could somehow invest in that innovation in some way, if we could connect you to somebody that knows how to do that, or we could even, within reason. I'm obviously not signing up and giving away the farm here, people.
Right.
But if there's ways that, so we've kind of been brainstorming if there's a way or an application process to be able to do that for people to be able to innovate. That's definitely a thought. And then also just way we can come up with other community partners. So I think we've really been blessed with like our connection with like the Solar Bros when they're getting us into different areas. And I think that's something that the market never thought could be, maybe, or how that's valuable to be able to partner with small businesses in that way.
Well, it starts from showing value. The value that they've brought
for sure
makes us like willing to, oh, okay, well, if you guys have ideas, we're willing to listen.
Exactly.
Because you've put time in our community and in the footprint of the market, you've put value in. So it's like when Solar Bros has an idea or some input, you're more willing to listen because of they've shown that they're invested.
Right.
And that's probably what we're looking for.
For sure.
To show that you're invested. Hey, we got your back then.
Right.
Then we're going to invest in you.
Yes.
So I definitely
if you show an investment
that.
in the market, we are ready to invest back.
Yep. No, I love that.
And then with Weil and I in general, just a quick thing. Yeah. And we've struggled with this forever, is that it is Young Leaders of Northeast Indiana, right? It is not Right, Wrong, and Different. It is not Young Leaders of Fort Wayne. So if there's any way that we can partner with other like local leadership programs outside, we've done that a little bit. We're trying to explore that a little bit more, but that is what I would like to see, because even like I kind of felt like an outsider even when I lived in Huntington and I was driving to Weil and I events type of thing. Not that anybody treated me differently, but it just
of course
all of our events are pretty Allen County focused, so being able to expand that footprint is definitely a priority too.
No, that makes sense too, because Northeast Indiana covers a lot of ground.
It does.
Not just Allen County.
It does.
So we need to have a big lake party in Angola or something.
Okay, let's not go to Angola. That's all right.
That's Northeast Indiana.
It is. That's so far away.
Well,
and I can
where
say
the lakes are. But that's where the lakes are.
I can say that because I worked in Angola. Still technically remotely work from Angola a little bit as well, but remotely.
It is far.
It's a long way.
I get it.
It's a long way.
I get it. So, okay, last question.
Yes, sir.
I always ask this.
Oh, Lord.
Blue.
Blue is my favorite color.
Yeah, navy blue is mine.
Oh.
Is mine. I'm just telling
you.
you.
Oh, it's yours.
Yeah.
Too dark.
You looked at me like, no, it's not. No, it's mine. So, okay, if the mayor gives you a task they're going to have a sign that goes above the AP building or even far beyond that, where everyone in our area can see it, and you get to say what it's going to say. So the whole whatever, Allen County or Angola or wherever, everyone
can. A tall sign if they can see it from Angola.
Yeah. But we're just saying.
Right.
What does it read?
Wow. That's a big one. Other than like just like Travis Adkins in a screenshot with my Venmo for people to donate.
Why are you the
Sorry, that was too real, wasn't it?
You're the only person that said anything remotely about, how can I use this platform to make money?
There's a reason that I have this seat.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
No, I mean, Oh, something not selfish.
I mean,
let me ruminate on that a minute. Well, I mean, obviously, more things that could attract people to the market. in any way. I mean, if there was like a cool picture of like Ashley like pointing at a carrot, being like, this could be, I don't know. see, this is off the cuff. I
Some
can't.
bad ideas.
I
people.
know. Didn't you like my Venmo?
I do like.
It's a great question.
Yeah, at least think through. I love the thinking through it.
Yes. Well, I mean, I feel like it's lame, but I mean, I would love a market ad. I mean, I feel like I'm not sure what that would look like. I mean, if they put my face on it, we're going to have vendors flee.
Yeah. Fair.
If we put Ashley on it, Ashley's already the face of Fort Wayne, so how much bigger could her head get?
She doesn't listen to these, don't worry.
Oh, I'm fine with it. I would tell it to her face. You know, I'm an honest person.
If only she was in the room with us.
If only she was in the room. Ghosts. I don't know, Adam. What does some of our do our awesome vendors say to that question? I want to steal their thunder.
Okay, it's
because they're not selfish.
Yeah,
like me.
They're usually more like
that's fair.
Love everyone and
that's not the way I went.
Yeah, that's not. You're like
that's not the way I went.
This could be a moneymaker.
Yes.
That's where you went. Like
yes. I mean, love everyone's cool. That's good. I mean, we should have love. Don't hate, which is similar.
Don't hate. Okay.
Don't hate.
Appreciate.
Honest to God, I almost said that out loud.
What if you had a snap? Like.
Yes. Like a SoundCloud something.
Yeah.
I like
where
that.
Where they hold. I got it.
You got it.
I got it.
You're making me sound smart now. Let's go.
They hold their phone up and it's a QR code.
Yes.
And then it's like a GIF of going like this, saying "Don't hate, appreciate."
I do like that, Adam.
And it's a QR code up in the sky that even Angola can see.
Wow.
So when they're on their jet ski on the lake.
See, I really need those Lakers to see my Venmo thing, though. This love thing. You can say love to love Travis. I don't know.
All right. So you are at the market pretty much every week.
Pretty much.
Shout out to your. If you could win, I would have preferred you win the Where's Waldo costume.
Oh,
you didn't win, but it was kind of like you can't win your own contest. But
that's true.
I will say you hit it. If you did not see the guy in the Where's Waldo, that is Travis.
That is me.
He's in the flesh right here with us.
Also, if you do watch this, which I mean it's me, so we're assuming that you're gonna watch and listen.
Right.
We have thought about the idea of like me doing that like randomly a couple times in the summer market, but like if a customer found me, I don't know, a market token.
I do love it. So stay tuned for that.
So stay tuned.
No, that is pretty good.
Yeah, Waldo of Fort Wayne. We don't know.
No, that's good. I'm on board for that. I will sign up for that.
Good to know.
Very good. So you can catch Travis kind of hanging out, walking around, eating food, doing all the fun stuff every Saturday from 9 to 1. We are at the Winter Market, so 1501 East Barry, and we will catch you there, guys.
See ya.
This podcast is brought to you by Coraggio Media. The show is edited by me and sponsored by the Wailanai Farmers Market. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram for all the latest updates. We will see you next week, where we will be sure to show you how you can enjoy Fort Wayne.